Yes, we are. And spawning down to the bottom right for Team Alter, it is PtitDrogo.
His opponent in the upper left, the Pokemon looking to evolve. He is Rattata for Good Game Gaming.
And first thing of note, no quick probe scout from Drogo, no hatch block coming on down. That means Rattata is going to be able to get the 16 hatch on his own expansion. Not a big deal, but it is something that, you know, usually comes down to a stylistic choice from the Protoss. And if the Protoss really wants to deny your expansion, unless you go for something like a 15 hatch, they're going to deny it.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the lack of a probe block from Drogo in this game. It depends on who you talk to. When we talk about to Zerg and Protoss players about whether it's worth it, you'll talk to some Zergs, say a Laser, for example, who will say it is always worth it to block the natural with the probe, to go for that early pylon, to go for that early scout. Because the income you lose by rallying your drones to the third base location kind of pays for it by itself. And then you'll have some players, say Hearthstone, who will say, okay, well, if you want to go for a depth harass, it's worth doing. Otherwise, it's not. You want to get the Stargate a little bit faster. I'm actually not sure. But at the end of the day, that does more than anything say it's just a stylistic decision. And Drogo, well, doesn't seem like he wants to get too heavy on the adept harass at the very least.
No, Drogo's the kind of player who prefers to play his own game plan, almost not independent of his opponent, because he's still going to scout, he's still going to figure out what his opponent's doing, and he's going to make responses based on that. But it's going to be more of a, I want to focus on what I'm doing right. I'm going to make, you know, big decisions based on what I see, but I'm not going to make tiny little changes to my build. Tiny little subtle differences. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with playing your game and focusing more on avoiding all the mistakes you can make. Drogo very much a by-the-book type player.
Oh, he very much is. Although, I'm curious to see what Rattata is going to do. Not in this game necessarily, Steadfast, because, well, it's pretty standard. But while Rattata is not quite on the Bly level of things, he does do some funky stuff, so... for right now, though, as you said, everything is normal. Players kind of playing by the book. Stargate is on the way. But here's my question. As we move into this, we talked about Drogo playing things maybe a little bit differently. Is this just going to be hero style here with the Oracle out, with Stalkers popping out, or does he have a little bit... Is he going to add some wrinkle into this Blink Stalker type of Oracle play?
I think he's going to be the kind of player that's going to stick with what he likes, which is he loves Charge Lot Archon. He loves going Charge Lot Archon. He likes to go into, you know, if he sees that you're ready to deal with it, he'll go for very quick Stargates into heavy Sky Toss carrier play. He is going to dictate what is happening in a game, more so than any other player, I feel like. He is, once again, going to play his game, and he's going to have you deal with this. For example, he's like, okay, I'm not too worried about the Oracle getting damage on the other side of the map. I want to use it to clear out your vision, to supply block you, and I'm going to use it to secure my Nexus, and then I'll go across the map once the second Oracle comes out, and once I can secure this base, and here it is. It's the same game plan he went for in his other PvZs so far.
And look at that, Steadfast. You know exactly what's happening. I'm curious to see whether, okay, Triple Oracle will be the name of the game there, but actually these queens don't have a lot of energy, and there's not a lot of anti-air, so both will go down. That's such a wonderful trade for Geralt early on. Oh, but he loses the Oracle. Oh, that's unfortunate. It moves from actually a really nice trade to something maybe not worth as much, but the Adepts and the Zealots on the other side do deny the aggression from Rattata. So Oracles, they get no workers. They do kill a queen, and if they'd gotten two, you might consider it absolutely, or excuse me, if they'd gotten three, losing one, you might consider it worthwhile. But as it stands, despite this being a resources lost advantage for Drogo, you lose that on so much map control. When you lose that Oracle, you lose that out on so much potential worker damage later on that it does kind of cause some problems. But Drogo, choosing to not be as defensive as he might be, that third Oracle runs in, joins the other one, and as the Adepts find their way to the natural here, this does represent a little bit more threat. Queens doing a great job of zoning the Oracles out. It looks like 3 workers will go down for the Adepts, which is not that bad. But Oracles, they don't get what they're looking for.
Great defense, though, from Rattata right there. He forced his Lings in on top of the Shades and prevented the second Adept in the back corner from being safe. Drogo was really trying to keep that separated off, but a great move from Rattata is able to keep that from getting what was probably going to be like 5 or 6 drones. And the fact that Rattata didn't have to pull his drones either and only loses 3, that's pretty nice for him. That's well defended.
Very much so. As the sentries are going to try to snipe an Overlord, which it'll happen eventually. It'll just take approximately 5 million years. But look what we got from Rattata Steadfast. We got a Spire on the way, and in all honesty, we've cast a couple PvZs today. We've seen a couple Spires in PvZs today, and they have not worked out.
No, they haven't actually been working out all that well at all. This is very interesting, by the way, out of Drogo. He is going for a fast blink. So normally I feel like, yeah, he's the Charge Lot Archon King. He loves that style. But he is going to be switching things up and going for a little bit of what actually Geralt went for previously, which is, in this case, Blink Stalker into very quick disruptors. And that's a big deviation from what Drogo usually likes to play. He does go for the double Hallucination Scout, and we'll see that Spire. Very nice scout. Very important scout, I would say.
Oh, it really is. Now, Steadfast, one thing we got to point out here on Cosmic is not inside and out. It's not dead to see in that you can get your 4 bases. You can get your 4 bases pretty easily. You can wall that off pretty well. Cosmic is much more wide open. So from that perspective, as Oracles dive in, they get a couple more workers, but still not a ton. The army that Drogo is going for, that we saw Geralt, he was at points he was able to just run across the map because, well, Cyril couldn't really do too much aggressively, or when Cyril tried to be aggressive, he had to almost all in for it. That is not the case on this map. There are more openings in the core 4 base setup. The openings are wider. So I'm curious to see if that is going to impact things. But for now, I mean, Drogo is just rounding out all of his decks. He's got a Dark Shrine, Disruptor's on the way, +2 on the way, Blink is done. Double Stargate on top of this, so triple Stargate actually. He's going triple Stargate Phoenix. Drogo is, you talked about marching by the beat of his own drum. He's got like one of those drums that is in a marching band that's like 10 feet around and you bang. That's kind of the size of the drum he's beating at, because this is interesting.
It is very interesting, and it looks like Rattata is only going to commit to a couple of mutas here. 6 mutas coming on down. We'll be able to snipe off a couple of probes. Ooh, that Phoenix doesn't want to lose this here. But also, I mean, going triple Stargate Phoenix is not really what you want against such a small commitment to mutas. Of course, the Phoenixes are going to be handy for stuff like lifting Ravagers. But I feel like if Rattata just goes for a big attack on the 4th base, this is going to be extremely difficult to deal with.
And there's no wall on the 4th base. Drogo has not had his one built, has not had one built up yet. I'm not even sure you really can. Not easily. It just requires so many structures. So for now, we do have Archons on the way, and that at least does mean you can fight well enough against the Lings and the Roaches as they get in range. But we saw triple Stargate, and now there are no more Phoenix on the way. It's 5 Phoenix. 5 Phoenix for 3 Stargates is just not an investment that you want. If you go triple Stargate, go full send. But Drogo understands that this aggression is getting ready in earnest. Rattata likely going to move out, likely going to actually make this attack happen as Baneling Speed does complete. As +1 does complete, which is very close to happening right now. Baneling Speed in 10 seconds, or Baneling Speed done +1 in 10 seconds. And these stasis traps, luckily, they're going to get triggered pretty early. Actually, they're just going to get targeted down. So really not the value that they want, but that's going to be a pretty nice one. They are serving as force fields. The Archons, they plug the wall. Force fields on the right side do a little bit more. And the mutas, they dive in, but there are Archons here. That's really not all that much. Disruptor on the right side getting a bunch of Roaches and Ravagers. And Drogo is starting to hold this pretty well. But there's the second round of Banelings rolling in. Zealot's taking some massive shots here. And we got to remember, the stasis trap will time out eventually. Stalker's playing forward. The Banelings, now they're done trying to get on top of things, but it's just Archons, DTs defensively knocking down the rest of it. There's no detection here. What a hold from Drogo.
Yeah, losing that detection really hurt a lot for Rattata. It happened twice where he first lost the detection. That meant that the stasis wards went off. They really created some great body blocking force fields. And then the second Overseer went down, and that allowed the DTs to warp in and really handle that defense. Now, I don't know that Rattata should have attacked into that base, because that one was a lot more defensively set up than this fourth base. This fourth base, it does now have a wall on the left side, but there's only one cannon, one shield battery, no stasis wards except to the very far back. I don't know. Rattata is going to try and knock into this location once again. He does have a lot of Banelings here, and there's only one Disruptor coming in from the back. It's going to need to be a big shot. The Banelings will blow up these Zealots. This is actually looking very tenuous right here for Drogo.
Well, Drogo flies in, he lifts up a bunch of these Ravagers, but this is one Disruptor here. It's already spent its load, so the Banelings will roll into the base. Cannon, it's going to do what it can. Good warp in, but they're just Zealots, so they die anyways. 14 workers have gone down. Now Oracles arrive, defensive DTs, and again, there's no detection. So DTs defensively do eventually do the job they need to do, but this time, 20 workers do fall. Drogo half the army supply, and it feels like as good as that hold was previously, Drogo did not really build himself back up again to where he needed to be. And as the game goes on here, Rattata, he's on 5 bases. He's on 72 workers. Not the highest worker count, but compared to what Drogo has, pretty good. And something in the main base killed a pylon. So Drogo had a bunch of gateways, a bunch of... Yeah, that pylon right around the Dark Shrine. It depowered 2 Stargates. It depowered a bunch of gateways. And that is one of the big reasons why Rattata was able to make that last pressure happen.
Yeah, and it is starting to look very dire here for Drogo. We are going to see another attack coming in on this fourth base. The thing is that even though a bunch of workers have gone down, oh, this Disruptor, I feel like Rattata is digging in so far to try and take this fight. I can't believe Drogo didn't fire that Disruptor. It felt like he could have gotten a huge shot, but he wanted to keep it back in reserve. We are going to see the Overseer going down, but an Archon getting a little bit too adventurous. Here's the Disruptor shot coming on in. That did nothing. That was such a wasted shot right there relative to what could have been like a massive shot on the defense.
No, Steadfast, I'm going to say something dumb, and you're going to have to bear with me for a second. With how this game has been going and how the Phoenix, it's been like Phoenix DT effectively that have been making the hold happen. As this is triple Stargate, I kind of wouldn't mind triple Stargate Void Ray just to knock the detection down. It kills Overseer so much faster, and it does deal with the Corruptors as well. Again, kind of a weird idea, but just considering how Drogo has been playing this game, it doesn't make the least amount of sense in the world. But now, Corruptors, they're going to find a position in the main base, peeing down on all these Stargates, and Drogo doesn't really have anything that deals with it. Does he bring the army from the front? I mean, it's a bunch of carriers. Is really the only thing that can react. Stalkers arrive now, and it seems like that will force the Corruptors back for the moment. So, at the very least, it's 2 Corruptors for really minimal gain. Drogo doing a great job of reacting. But this takes strength away from the pressure at the front, from the defense at the front here. Archon's not even at the front. Disruptor shots, they're not going to get the best shots. They get a bunch of roaches, sure, but the Banelings really feel like they are the target. They come crashing in. Pylons go down. There's the defensive gateway trying to go up, but 12 workers fall anyways. And I feel like Rattata's going to back up at this point, right? The army on the ground for Drogo feels a little bit too strong, but he's just going to commit onto the base. Lift's actually doing a great job. Banelings are not going to come crashing into the base. Corruptors pee it down, and now this is a 3-base Protoss versus what will try to be a 6-base Zerg.
It will try to be. That is the operative word right there, but it is going to get denied on the gold base here. Now, did Rattata throw away too much? Drogo thinks yes, and I feel like this is Drogo's best opportunity to try and get some counter damage done. Now, he is going to have to be extremely careful. Ooh, the Lings, they don't want to take the fight against those Archons just yet. These are +3 Archons. Ravager's going to rally into this very kind of sloppily. Ling's going to try and wrap around on the backside. Disruptor will get its shot off, but a lot of the Stalkers going to go down. Good job from Rattata to just go after the Stalkers on the back line. However, there's still 2 Archons remaining, and Drogo does win the fight initially. Blink forward going to come on in. Is there any detection here? Well, it's just the Spore Crawlers, but this base at the very least will fall for Rattata. Drogo needs a little bit more than that. He's going to lose the Archon to the Broodlings. Not what you want, but he will find this spine, and he should be able to get all these drones.
Although the Phoenix taking a little bit too much damage from the Spores, the lack of a Warp Prism is really hurting Drogo right now. If he had Warpins into this fight, I think maybe he even just wins the game. Now, there is detection because the Spore is on like 2 HP, but it's still doing a great job here. Rattata running in, his army, he finally has the reinforcements that he's been looking for. It's a great concave for Drogo, but it doesn't matter because the Lings are on top of the Stalkers. Stalkers have to fight the Lings. They don't fight them very well at all. So, Drogo, he gets the base. Great, fantastic. He loses his entire army. And he does not really have the economy that he needs to resupply this. He doesn't have the production either, not really. So, yes, he's building 4 probes at a time. Yes, he's warped in some Stalkers, but if he had a War Prism, I think he wins this game. As he didn't, and as he did not kill that Spore, leaving it on like 2 HP, I think he just lost the game from that push instead.
It certainly put him into a nearly insurmountable position. Now, we have to note, he did knock his opponent back down to 4 bases. He got his own 4th base reestablished here. So he still has a fighting chance in this game. But I've got to agree with you. A War Prism would have been a world of difference. Warping in charge lots, adding on 1 or even 2 more Archons could have completely swung that fight in his favor. It felt like the Lings just beat up on everything. And Zealots with their +3 attack, there's only +1 Carapace, so it still would have been 2-shotting the Lings. That was actually such a close tipping point. But Rattata barely making the hold, and now, as you said, he's going to really pull ahead in supply. But to go back to an earlier point, I do think Void Rays would have been an amazing choice, actually.
You know, the more I think about it, I was kind of memeing, but I kind of agree.
It would have been amazing.
Okay, DTs get a little bit more. And by the way, Steadfast, as this game slows down for just a second, I got some updates for you. Laser's up 1-0 on Raynor as he continues his quest to be the only player here in DreamHack Group Stage to go undefeated. Hate Me is up 1-0 on Spirit, which actually has pretty serious implications on this setup. If Drogo wins, and I believe if Spirit loses, then there's a world where Drogo gets 3rd place instead of 4th. And then Strange is up 1-0 on Young Yakov, really as expected.
Yes, but the Strange being up 1-0 on Young Yakov puts a lot of pressure onto Drogo. Like he's in a tough spot in this game. He's still in it. He's building a mothership. He's adding on he's adding on another disruptor. We are going to see a little lane run by getting caught here on the right side. That is quite important because Drogo needs to establish a 5th base desperately.
Another thing we got to point out, Steadfast, in a lot of 17 to 18 minute games as the Zerg, Lings kind of feel free. All right, they're 50 minerals a pop for 2 of them. You have this massive bumper crop of minerals all the time. They feel kind of free. That's not the case of this game. Rattata is only on 60 workers. His economy, while good compared to what Drogo has, and because of the base kills, is not incredible. Instead, he's just choosing to max out on massive army. We do not have Storm. The splash is going to have to be on the disruptors, but it does not get the Banelings. Kind of whiffs in general. Archons kite backwards, and the Banelings, despite Archons being pretty good against them, they're still doing a fairly good job. But here comes the mothership, but it's not in range. It's not cloaking into the army. Steadfast disruptors now go down, and it looks like this 5th base will get broken. The disruptor, it was there. It joined the fight, and Drogo just didn't rally it forward. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's Big Mama's house, but Big Mama's house is not as safe as you would think it might be. We are going to see the Corrosive Isles getting dodged here, and Drogo will chase down a good portion of this army. But once again, losing that 5th base does make things rather difficult for Drogo. He's going to stay calm. He's not going to panic, but it is now a 6-base Zerg versus a 4-base Protoss for the foreseeable future. I mean, Rattata had to throw away a lot of army to make that happen, so I still don't necessarily like his position. And in fact, I think that might have even been an overcommitment, but it is a tough position for Drogo as well.
I mean, remember, Rattata's only on 57 workers as he did build a couple more structures. And I'm just looking at that fight and wishing that Drogo had his disruptor on the right side of his army. Because that's where all the Banelings were. One disruptor shot goes off, even half the Banelings go down. And suddenly from a position where it's not incredible for Drogo, he kind of trades half and half. He wipes that army. It's gone. It's dead. The Archons don't have to kite back nearly as hard, and, well, it works out fairly well. But Rattata, I was going to say he's rebuilding his economy, but not really. He got himself up to 60 workers, but he is very all in on this setup. He's got Corruptors now. He's got Vipers now, but only on 60 workers. As Drogo continues to build an economy, I don't know how I feel about this decision.
Yeah, it's tough because he can't really secure another base. The only other base that's like open at this point is the gold base. He could really only benefit from another... Actually, no, hang on. He needs to rally for these drones from this base. So he could really only benefit from 1 extra drone if he like optimizes his economy. Oh, these Banelings on the on the left side are kind of going to... This is funny to see a Zealot chasing so many Banelings. Like, the Zealot just really wants to die and go to Valhalla, or whatever Protoss Valhalla is. I'm sure they have a Valhalla of some kind. They're a warrior race. But it's just very funny to see that.
The funny thing is, Zealots are like canonically the one unit that doesn't die when it dies. You get the Zealot as it's dying, it gets teleported up as the shields go down, as the armor goes down. It gets teleported back to the mothership. Although, I guess as the mothership is here, Stalker's blink forward, and the mothership's not going to go down. Now, he doesn't get the Viper, which is the goal. A second Disruptor, a second Yoink, and this one is going to get the mothership. Minus 400, minus 400. In fact, probably more, because that mothership probably should have made the hold around the 4th base happen last time, and it didn't. So now here come the Banelings rolling for Disruptor shots. There already have been spent, but there are so many Archons here. And with an overcharge, Steadfast, this is a massive overextension from Rattata. Take the mothership, run away. But this is not working out all that well. That being said, tons of Lings, tons of Banes in this 4th base of Drogo, but the recall is there. 7 workers still go down. Disruptor shot gonna woefully miss. And the Archons, they were not grabbed in. So yes, these Stalkers have +3. They do not have armor. And when we talk about +3 cracklings, they shred everything. The recall doesn't get anything here. In fact, Drogo just loses really his entire lunch. His dinner too, his afternoon snack. Kind of feels like he's dead now.
Yeah, that was a game-losing recall. Right after, oh man, that's so painful. I really feel like if he even recalled 1 or 2 Archons, that completely goes differently. In fact, I would go so far as to say he only needed to recall maybe like 2 Zealots and an Archon. Instead, he recalls a bunch of Stalkers, couple Disruptors. They don't get anything done. Good split against the Disruptors from Rattata. And now it is Drogo who is on the ropes in this game. And oh, the Banelings get in, kill 16 probes. We've got Rattata coming in with a massive attack. Battery overcharge, not able to keep these Archons alive. The Corruptors will take down the carriers, and Rattata wins another epic game here on the B stream.
Man, well, Steadfast, here's the thing. We saw Rattata do that against Young Yakov on Thursday, and then he lost the next 2 games. So actually, the 1-2 curse has just been real, not only for Mana, but for many players here in DreamHack Europe. So who knows? Drogo still's got a shot. I think he had many, many opportunities to win that game 1, but every single one, he just kind of frittered it away. Do we have any updates on what's happening on other streams? I did in the middle of the game. Raynor and a Laser are 1-1, so Laser can now not be undefeated. And at that point, it really is just who wins, because someone will be 7-0, someone will be 6-1. It looks like Hate Me is still playing Spirit, Strange still playing Young Yakov. But Drogo now, I don't think... Yeah, Drogo can no longer catch Spirit in 3rd place. He would have had to 2-0 as Spirit gets knocked down 2-0 for that to happen. So at the very least, Drogo now, he's only fighting for 4th place. He's not fighting for 3rd as well. But as Strange is putting pressure on Young Yakov, we just crank that tension up a little bit, Steadfast.
Yeah, it's Drogo who is already in some trouble here. And I mean, if Strange loses, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Drogo is still through. But now I guarantee Drogo is looking at those results and seeing, oh God.
Oh no.
Oh no. Not it happened to Mana. Don't let it happen to me. I don't want it to happen again. And these old guard Protosses, they're having a bit of a rough time here under the gun.
Yeah, and by the way, just want to point something out. That recall, it did have an Archon with it, but it was an Archon that had no shield, so it popped immediately.
So fair enough. So yeah, I didn't even notice it.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn I saw a big glowing ball of energy that just died so quickly. It wasn't in the best spot either. But yeah, every time Drogo got close, every time it felt like he was doing something good, he kind of did something to counteract it fairly quickly, or just didn't quite have the execution that he was looking for. But I think also Cosmic Sapphire is a pretty terrible map for Protoss in ZVP. It's just so wide open. Data C is a lot nicer for them. So while map balance does not mean everything, I think Drogo is going to be somewhat okay with the expectation of, okay, look, I almost beat this guy. If I did some small things different, I probably would have beaten him on the map that, if there's a map that I don't expect to win, it will be Cosmic. So maybe that's something he can take solace in. But regardless, we're into game 2.
That we are, and the pressure is mounting. This man needs to make it happen. For Alter Esports, it is PtitDrogo.
in the upper left now, in the red, up 1, but he had to fight hard for that one. He is for Good Game Gaming, Rattata.
The other thing is too, Rattata is also looking to make sure that he gets not only the $200 from winning this match, but he is worried about young Yakov chasing him in the standings. You know, so it's more than just $200. This is, I want to say it's like at least 350 or 400 USD for this show match, so to speak. I mean, obviously to Drogo, it's everything. Like this show match, well, this is more than a show match. This is him trying to make the playoffs. But for Rattata, this is a valuable money match.
So Steadfast, you're telling me that this match might be worth as much as the Loch Ness Monster?
About 350?
Exactly.
I'm telling you exactly that.
There we go.
I think it might actually be worth even more than that. I gotta fire up the old.
I choose to believe that it is worth about as much as the Loch Ness Monster. It's like in the WTL, Nice is worth 68 points, but I choose to believe he's worth 69 points.
Yep, exactly. 17th to 20th, 21st to 24th. I believe that it is... Okay, no, it's worth 300, jumping from 8th in the... Wait, hang on. That's not right.
This is why they say don't do math on stream, folks. But while Steadfast figures that out, we got an Adept on the way, chronoed out here, and DreamHack trying to take advantage of the fact that he can run across the map. It's a 31-second rush distance, and as he has blocked the natural, he will be able to take advantage of that. Also, I think I said it, we were moving into data C. I'm sorry, the tile sets confused me. Moondance, though, much like Waterfall, is a map that is works pretty well for glaive play. It's so quick across the map that it's just, despite glaives kind of being figured out, well, it just hits so quickly that it's hard. But Rattata, oh, he gets lings in. This is so annoying.
Yeah, this is a real pain, and he's already forced 4 probes to stop mining for a little bit of time. That's on its own, that nearly pays for the lings themselves. Another 4 probes being forced to stop mining. He might even get this 1 probe right here. Oh, nope, Stalker's going to keep it alive. Good job from Drogo, but this has already disrupted him a lot. It is going to be a Dark Shrine, so another DT drop coming on in here. But I gotta say, this is a pretty nice start for Rattata and a pretty rough one for Drogo.
Oh, no, very much so. The only thing I'm curious about is maybe Rattata reads into this that this is glaives just because of the map that we're in instead of the Dark Shrine. But that Ling hiding in the third base, it's fantastic for several reasons. It means he's going to be able to scout out if Drogo drops the pocket third, and also it will be able to run into the main base at some point later on to figure out exactly what is happening, because there's just no army on the back side of this. But Steadfast, as the Dark Shrine is on the way, this is much more committed. This is 4-gate DT.
Yeah, it is certainly going to have to find some value to be worthwhile. And here comes that Ling coming into the main base.
Oh, no.
Drogo didn't check his corners, and he is going to be scouted here. Dark Shrine gets found, sees the additional 3 gates, sees the additional gases. This is phenomenal right now for Rattata. And Rattata did initially set up for a pretty dedicated anti-glaive adept setup. He got the 2nd gas in the Roach Warrant. So he was thinking, okay, I want 3 quick Ravagers, and I want to be able to bile down the Warp Prism. Instead, he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I fire up my lair, build my Spore Crawlers, then I'm still going to be fine.
So Steadfast, for those of us at home that may not understand the nuances between 3-gate DT and 4-gate DT, what exactly does this mean? For now, of course, it means we're not even going to have DTs. This is just for Archon drops really quickly.
Yeah. But the difference between the 4-gate and the 3-gate, of course, is the level of commitment. That 4th gate means you really do want to get something done a little bit more. In this case, because PtitDrogo tried to delay his Dark Shrine so much in order to keep the information from Rattata hidden, it means that it hits even later. We already see the War Prism taking a little bit of shield damage. Nice job. Gonna get one of these. Oh my god, the drones.
Oh, he's gonna get so... No, he's still stacking. He's still stacking. 12 workers go down, and he gets a... Okay, this is worth it.
Wow, yeah, this is massively worth it. Oh my goodness, Rattata really underestimated that right there. And now he's gonna go in for more, and he is going to find more. Another 3 drones getting picked off here. Ooh, this War Prism though. Oh man, if there was a queen in the main base, that's a dead War Prism. But Drogo manages to skate out by the skin of his teeth. Oh, interception, not gonna happen. And now the squeeze a little bit off creep.
It's just a queen. Nice try in the intercept. Oh, yeah, they chase it down. Okay. And now with the Observer here as well, this is the second round of this aggression. Yeah, it's not going to kill workers as much anymore because the War Prism's too low, but now it's just going to be Archon sitting on the edge of creep with an Observer, really shutting down the map presence that Rattata wants to find. So Steadfast, where the hell does Rattata go from here? He's lost 2 queens. He's lost 15 drones against the setup that, I mean, they want to get a worker here or there. I got to be careful of the warp. Oh, wait, these overlords, they're so stacked up. One will fall. I mean, Drogo is feeling his weeds, but he's got to be so careful. 2 more shots on the War Prism. He gets out.
Drogo, to say that he is playing with fire doesn't do it. He's literally playing with magma. Like, it's actually, like, it's a solid thing. And he's just, you know, flipping it around with a little toy shovel. And he's just like, this is fine. This toy shovel is made of titanium. It's all right. And he's like, do you know what the melting points are? And he's like, yeah.
I don't have to touch it. You know, like, as long as it's just up in the air, it's fine.
I just need to keep juggling it.
Oh man, I love this move from Drogo as well. Yes, he's got a third base, but this Immortal Sentry follow-up with how much damage he got done. Generally, when you're looking at a Protoss all-in, you look at the supply and say, okay, if the Protoss is equal on army supply with the Zerg, it's really, really bad. And Drogo, he's already ahead of the army supply of Rattata here. Good force fields as well. Drogo giving Rattata no time to come back into this game. The Queens are falling, Roaches and Ravagers as well. The Biles not even on the force fields. They're trying to kill the army, and that means the army of Rattata cannot escape. This third base, I don't know what Rattata can actually do to save it. Now, one Bile is going to hit a Stalker. That's fine, but the Concave reestablished once again. Swarm moves forward, knocking down the Observer. And actually, as the Lings arrive, seems like that is forcing things back for the moment, but that is just for another set of Stalkers to warp in. There is no saving this base. And Steadfast, you ready for game 3?
I am ready for game 3. We're going to see Rattata pulling the boys to try and hold this, but this timing hit before the actual timing for Drogo. +1 and Blink were not done, and now they are done. And we've already seen the base fall. There's still these 3 Immortals here. Blink to force field out the Roaches and Ravagers. And we are going to see, like you said, a game 3. Drogo says, I am made of something different. I'm cut from a different cloth. I can handle the pressure. And he takes game number 2, keeps destiny in his own hands.
Well, Steadfast, it makes sense. Okay, so Drogo plays for Altar Esports, right? Altars are normally made of stone. Well, when you apply enough heat and pressure to stone, it becomes stronger. It becomes more valuable. So, you know, we had a nice, I don't know, a sandstone altar for Drogo. And now it is whatever the hell metamorphic sandstone turns into, because I forget. It's been too long since I've taken basic limestone. No.
Diamonds, sure. Let's
absolutely.
Diamonds.
It was an altar of pure coal that is now turned into diamonds.
Exactly. Coal altars. Really uncomfortable to kneel at, and
you gotta be careful with your candles on it. You want to catch the thing on fire.
Oh, it's just a terrible, terrible state of being. But the big takeaway here is that Drogo still can make it through. Strange did, in fact, 2-0 Young Yakov, which I believe means Drogo must win this game full stop to make it through.
I believe that is correct. So let's see. Strange, he's 3-4 -1. Drogo is now... He would also go to -1, but Strange would have more map wins. So yes. Yes. Drogo has to win this game. Trivocal Sacrifice will be the map. Less of a Protoss map, but also less of a Zerg map. We had, well, really a really cool game there from Geralt on it just recently. Steadfast, what do you think? Can Drogo similarly dazzle us?
I hope so. I hope so, because it is nice to see him doing well. But we're going to get into it. We're going to find out.
Right, folks, here we are in the bottom left. One map to rule them all, one map to find them, and one map to maybe send this player into the playoffs. In the bottom left, it's Drogo.
And his opponent looking to bind him. For good game gaming, it is Rattata. And we've already got something a little different here. We have got a probe block coming in from Drogo. Drogo mixing things up a little bit from games 1 to 3. Nice to see. Nice to see.
The poet Steadfast, dazzling us with his fantastic words. Although, didn't Drogo probe block game 2?
Yes, but that doesn't rhyme.
There we go. We're going to sacrifice. We're going to make our storylines. We're going to sacrifice truth on the altar of storytelling. Got it. Thank you.
Exactly. It's in the tropical locale as well.
The diamond altar, though.
Sacrifice. Exactly. Oh, my metaphors. Ouch, owie.
Oh no. We forgot to warm up before this series, so it's a significant stretch, and really it's gonna start to pull apart pretty soon. But this does open up room again for Drogo to maybe make something happen. We saw him try to snipe some queens, and he did snipe 2 queens in game number 1, but then he kind of lost Oracle, and that really caused some problems. But if I am Drogo, looking at game 3 here, I don't think I'm going to do anything super weird. Because game 1, he was in winning position multiple times. It didn't work out. Last game, he was in winning position. He was just able to close it out. So in general, he's going to feel like he has been playing better this series, which means you just got to clean it up a little bit. You don't do anything weird, and you should be able to clutch it out.
Yeah, absolutely. He played well. He played well in a lot of scenarios, but like you said, in game number 1, there was just a few decisions that were folly that cost him a lot. I would say the big one was that recall to the 4th base that ended up basically with Drogo sacrificing like 25 supply of very valuable units, and it really hurt him significantly in that game and basically cost him the game. After, you know, there was a lot of mistakes on both sides, but I feel like that one was the real difference maker. We're going to see these Lings getting into the main base, and they will be able to scout the Stargate. That's going to be a nice little bit of info and can be disruptive with these units, and he's going to force the other Adept to stay at home. Actually, he's going to get a probe there. Oh, very nice for Rattata.
Oh, and unfortunately as well, the probes that were pulled away on the left side, they went and they didn't go back to mining quickly. They're there now. But when we talk about the small advantages of the early game, you talk about pulling workers off, and maybe that makes the 2 Lings worth it anyways. They just kind of sat there for about a second before Drogo pulled them back. So a little bit more damage, not the end of the world necessarily, as Probe's going to try to take the 3rd base, but Lings are here. Great timing from Rattata. This is actually something that he does in general against Protoss. He's so good at hitting that timing with his Lings right as the 3rd base wants to go down and delaying it by a solid 15-20 seconds, which is a bigger difference than we might expect, because again, that means probes, the 3 probes at a time, starts slower. That means your tech, maybe you got to go, it just messes with your build order a little bit more.
It certainly does, and to that end, Rattata is building quite a few more Zerglings here, going up to 15 Lings. I feel like he wants to try and get something done on that 3rd base once again, and he is rallying these Lings across the map. Oracles do see it, but they say, okay, that's not enough Lings to actually cause a disruption and force me to come back home. We are going to see the double Oracle getting into the natural expansion. Will grab 1 drone, almost loses an Oracle. Preemptive Spore Crawler morph, but on the 3rd base, these Zerglings are going to try and get in on top of these Adepts, and they will find a decent little position on them. Is this going to be enough to take it down, though? I don't think so. Drogo, with some excellent positioning of his own, that is going to prevent this from becoming a problem, but Rattata will see the Robo instantly as it's thrown down, and that's going to be an indication that it's at least not going to be right up into those Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, no, this is going to be the charge lot play, I think. Normally, the Astrea style, where you have the hero opener, you get 2 or 3 oracles, and then you don't go into blink, you go into charge. Normally that only gets like 1 to 2 oracles. It doesn't go up to 3, so bit of a deviation here by Drogo as he cancels the Roach Warren. Okay. I don't know that that's the most value thing, especially because he's not really going for a push, but that might put some more fear into Rattata's head. It's like, wow, the oracle's committed this much energy to deny my Roach Warren. Okay, maybe I have to be a little bit more afraid.
I feel like that was just Drogo being like, oh, a building that just got thrown down.
Okay.
Don't mind if I do. And was maybe hoping that Rattata wasn't paying attention. Because if he's not, that's 150 minerals plus the cost of the drone. That's 200 minerals and a drone dead. Yeah, that's incredibly worthwhile. If your opponent doesn't cancel it, you see it going down instantly. That's a very high value pickoff. That's the equivalent of picking off, 4 drones, really. But of course, Rattata was paying attention, and it ends up looking a little bit silly. Nice quick save right there from Rattata. Very well done. And he even transfuses the drone. Oh, don't block it with the queens. Okay, he's good. He's good. Nice little move right there from Rattata.
So Steadfast, as we look at how this game is going to go, it looks like it will be Swarm Host play from Rattata, which is actually fairly good on Tropical Sacrifice. A bunch of good spots to drop a Nidus if that's what he's going for. But well, I was going to say there's going to be a Charizard Archon timing, and I'm worried that that cuts the knees out of this Swarm Host play before it even gets started. But with Storm on the way, looks like this time is going to hit a little bit later. In the balance of power, how do you feel about this?
I actually don't mind Storm against Swarm Hosts. I think that it can be incredibly powerful at nullifying that first wave. Now, it really does come to that first wave of Swarm Host. You're hoping to get a lot done with that. Ooh, scouting the High Templar is very nice here for Rattata. That's going to mean he really wants to sneak these units in. And in fact, he's going to go for a snipe on this High Templar. Will be able to get it. That's a huge pickoff. He wants the Immortal as well, but I mean, that's a little bit too much HP, a little too many Adepts, even without the Oracles coming home. But this is now actually way scarier for Drogo, because you really rely on the first wave of Swarm Hosts getting shut down. This is a terrifying moment right here for Drogo.
I mean, this is timed out super well, though. Storm done in 10 seconds. Storm Host only just now arriving. So from that perspective, at least you will have Storm. You won't have as many Storms as you would like, is good revelation there. I want to point out
the Oracle.
Zealot, actually, oh, that's so cool. Look what he did. He ran his Zealot forward, and the Locust, they all dove on top of it. So only half of these Locusts are really going to be scary, but that's going to be a dead Immortal as well. Locust dive on top. But honestly, if you're all that you lose is an Immortal on this push, the bio lands, but shield battery is powerful. If all that you lose is an Immortal off the first round of Swarm Hosts, you're kind of okay with that.
Well, take a look at the battle report, because it wasn't just an Immortal. It was a lot of units that kind of trickled down, only for Lings, basically, and that first wave of Locust. That Swarm Host wave got way more damage done than Drogo could afford, and this is suddenly very scary for him right here. Oh, man, there's not a whole lot here. The second Swarm Host wave is now ready to go. He needs to basically one storm down that entire army, but it's going to be Roaches running by into the natural and the main, and now the Locust will land on this army. The Storm is good to clear them out, but there's too much Roach Ravager behind it. The Immortals go down. The High Templar are going to fall, and so too will Drogo. Rattata comes in with the Swarm Host waves and absolutely eats his opponent alive.